Case the producer.
Welcome to Gridiron Live, sponsored by Gridiron Elite and Lineage of Champions.
Party and Intent franchises.
Our first game of the week, we got Craig Thigpen here, correspondent, Gridiron Live, myself, Cornell Harris. Our first game of the week is Lakeside versus North Augusta at North Augusta. What you think about that, Greg?
Cornell, there's a lot of interesting matchups. As you know, football games are won not only teams, but also by individual matchups. And I'm looking at North Augusta's offense versus the Lakeside secondary. What do you think about that matchup?
The matchup is going to be a very good matchup. You got Trill Reese, who threw for over 3,000 yards last year. Virtually, he lost some weapons, but then he gained some weapons. He's going to have a good wide receiver in Milling. He's going to have a good wide receiver in Chandler Harrison. He's going to have a good back out of Houston coming out the backfield. It's going to be an intriguing matchup, but that, like I said, that Lakeside secondary is a no-fly zone.
They have some guy in their secondary. What's his name?
Rashad Round.
Oh, yeah, that guy. I forgot about that.
I mean, he's ranked in the state. I watched the scrimmage last week with Lincoln County. The secondary is very good. You got BJ, playmaker, prime time, Raymond on one side, and then you got Zach Banks on the other side, who's a very good lockdown corner. Then you got Stephon Huzar playing the strong safety, mixing it up. They got the strength of some little linebackers that's speedy, and it just makes up a good thing. Now, my thing with that matchup is if North Augusta can slow down Lakeside and make them go some 3-and-outs, it's going to be a very interesting game. If Lakeside can't stop them, North Augusta, the attack with Trill Reese, it's going to be a very interesting game.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the coaches. We got two new coaches, one for North Augusta and one for Lakeside, Hibbets and Thomas. How do you think they'll be judged, not just this season, but also going forward?
Well, you know, all the time when you're coming into situations like that, NFL, college, it doesn't matter, high school, you got to get the monkey off your back. And they got a large monkey on their back. Pippen was over at North Augusta. He built that program up from even when I was there. I mean, he put the program on his back. He made a good program out of it. They had went to Final Fours a couple of years in a row. North Augusta been going the distance in playoffs. Then you got Troxler at Lakeside. That's where Hibbets is taking over. And I mean, Troxler has been taking them to the promised land. You know, the state playoffs has been their mission, and they've been there the last 3 seasons. So
and when he took over, Troxler, Lakeside was not very good.
No, they wasn't. I mean, Jody Grooms had did a good job with Lakeside, but Troxler was on that staff too. He was doing the offense, so he helped build that Lake. I mean, he did build that Lakeside program. I mean, with the attention of some playmakers coming in, I mean, hey, that Lakeside program is a program.
What do you think about Lakeside's linebackers are a little on the small side? How do they match up against North Augusta?
Well, I think that it's going to be good for them to be on the small side, so that means they should be able to cover those wide receivers well. I just really can't get into it. To me, I think it's whoever defense can get the offense off the field.
North Augusta is really strong on defense.
Their defense is strong, but in the scrimmage against Silver Bluff, they did make a few mistakes in the secondary. So if they can make mistakes and get that better, then they'll be all right.
Do you think a running back has a chance for either team to really have a big night?
To be honest with you, I seen both of the offensive lines struggle in the running game. So whoever puts together the best running game, I think that will be the ingredients to success. Running game plus great defense, that's what's going to win the ball game.
So next week, you and I are sitting here talking. We look back at Lakeside. We look back at the North Augusta game. Who are the playmakers we're sitting talking about? I mean, is there a guy besides? I mean, we all know who the big time playmakers are on paper, but is there a couple guys? I mean, you're watching out for out there in the game that potentially we could be talking about next week, or you think it's going to be who's your playmaker? I mean, who's the guy that the Cornell Harris is looking at?
Okay, I'm looking at the playmakers that I named, but I'm gonna say this: number 22 for Lakeside, his name is Jalen. He think he'll be a key component in that game. He's overlooked a little bit, but I think he's going to be a key component. And a kid by the name of Ishmael, I think those two kids are going to be key components in that game.
Prediction yet, or are you going to hold out on me until Friday?
I'm going to hold out until you on Friday.
That might be a good idea. So we're going to hold on to the predictions that'll be on GridironElite.net by Friday. So we'll say the predictions. He's got to get out and check them out a little bit. He's got to get some blood types and some birth certificates. Corner likes to know everything.
Make sure everything
makes everything's right before he makes his prediction. Let's move down to our next game, Aquinas versus Glen Hills. We're actually at Coach James Quarles Field here in Glen Hills, checking out a little bit of the practice. What do you think about that game? What should we expect out of Aquinas, who we know is a powerhouse, and Glen Hills is practicing hard and looked good. The eye test is definitely passing to me, just riding by the practice and taking a few minutes to look at them. So what do you think about the contest there?
I really think it's going to be a great contest. I think that's going to be one of those games, like you said before, that's going to be a model of whoever wins the upfront battle. I think size is both on both of their ends. I think both of them got good size linemen. I think it's going to come down to the playmakers. I mean, Aquinas has two great playmakers, one in Ruben Garnett, which is, all-state right now, has 16 offers. I mean, he was player of the year for Augusta Chronicle last year. And then you got Daniel Lindsay at wide receiver, so it's kind of like pick your poison. Daniel Lindsay is very quick, he can get you off your feet. I mean, he can be everywhere. Also, they got a great quarterback in that 2016 class, and Leon Welch.
That's who I want to see. I saw him a little bit last year. I really want to see him, what he's going to do this year. I predict he's going to have a monster season.
Oh, yeah. I think that he may pass for over 3,000 yards, kind of like Trill Reese did last year. But I think a lot of coaches love him because his throwing motion is outstanding, and it's just one motion. I mean, you love to see a guy just throw the football like that. You just love to see that.
Who we watching here at Glen Hills?
You got Malloy at linebacker. You got a kid they nicknamed Tree at offensive lineman who's actually anchoring that defense and offensive line. And then you got a Russell Timely who's just a pure athlete. I've been watching him since he's been in middle school. This matchup between Glen Hills and Aquinas is intriguing because we all know guys that's been watching football in the area. We know Russell and Malloy and Tree and Ruben Garnett and Daniel Lindsay. All of them went to middle school together, actually, at Glen Hills Middle, 8th grade. And that team lost the city championship game to a Tech middle school, but they're friends. So it's going to be a battle. So I think that first quarter is going to be very emotional. But I would say, and I know you're going to come back to me and ask me, who do I think the playmakers is? So I'm going to let you see it.
Who do you think the playmakers are?
Well, I think the playmakers is going to be
Ruben Garnett, I bet.
No, I'm going to say sophomore Justin Gibbs.
Okay.
I love Nash Bennett. I love Napoleon Williams. He was in that crew that came up from Glen Hills Middle. I'm going to say the playmaker of that game, I'm going to go Daniel Lindsay, Tasman. If Daniel Lindsay, if they worry too much about Ruben Garnett and don't worry about Daniel Lindsay, that's going to be the one that's going to hurt.
I'll tell you one of the matchups I'm looking at is really the trenches. I mean, you talked a little bit about it a few minutes ago, but the boys are pretty good size.
Yeah.
And I know Aquinas is as well. And I feel like that's where Glen Hills, if they want to win this game, they're going to have to beat Aquinas up front with their size and with their beef. I mean, they certainly have a lot of it. So do you think they can do that?
I think to get with the coaching wise, I think if they maintain a great game and a great scheme of just maybe pounding the ball and try to get that going with Aquinas, then they have a great chance of success. But if Aquinas gets 3 and outs on them, Aquinas offense could put up 40, 50 points in the game.
How about the coaching battle?
I think the coaching battle is going to be good. James Leonard is a young coach, but he's in tune with his team. Coach at Glen Hills is a great coach, and he's enthusiastic, and he really wants to bring that brand. And he wants that signature win.
Sure.
And what better signature win than beating the state champions?
And a team that could be on the track to do it again.
That's correct.
I mean, that'd be a heck of a way to start the season.
That's correct.
For sure. I know Glen Hills had a scrimmage last week against Elbert County. Didn't go so well. Any particular reason you think why, or just maybe just one of those games where they were just trying to knock the dust off?
I think it's a learning curve for them.
Yeah.
Possibly, it was a muggy night. Maybe some of the guys was out of shape, but I could tell by up there that they're working hard, and I expect to have a good game this week.
Now that game will also, the prediction will be on the website as well. I would try to hammer my guy here for a prediction, but I think he's going to wait on that one as well.
Wait on that one.
Who else we got this week? Anybody on that one as well?
Wait on that one.
Who else we got this week? Anybody else to play on? It's a light skeleton schedule this week.
Yeah, because it's week 0. But we got a Greenbrier at Harlem. Okay. Now, Troxler left that Lakeside program, and he went to the Greenbrier program, and they didn't win a game last year.
Right.
But I will step out on a prediction right now and say Troxler brings a W to Greenbrier next week in Harlem.
I like that. I actually talked to some folks that went to the Greenbrier West Side scrimmage,
Okay.
and it was a really competitive scrimmage. I think it was 13-12, something like that, from what I understand. So Greenbrier's definitely improved from last year, so that'll be interesting to see how that goes.
We got Jefferson County at Thompson, which my pastor is a big Thompson fan, and they're going to be out there tailgating. So I don't want to say a prediction for Thompson versus Jefferson County, but Thompson did beat Evans last week in their scrimmage. Jefferson County has a nice air attack. I think it's going to be tough for Thompson. I mean, I know they beat Evans last week, but Evans is rebuilding. They got a great kid in Madeline Marshall, but other than that, they don't really have any other skill players.
Right.
So I'm going to say Jefferson County is going to beat Thompson next week.
I disagree with you. I'm going to go in with Thompson. I really do. I'm going to go ahead and give it to you right here on the first show.
Okay.
Thompson is a championship program. They love to win championships. They've got great players in the program, and I predict for them to have a lot better year than what a lot of people are thinking right now.
Okay.
All right. So, and I want to talk about a little bit. Let's talk about Laney and Dudley.
But I'm going to say this right here. I'm going to surprise some people, some barbershop people, and I'm going to say Laney over Dudley.
Wow. Now, that's a surprise. Yeah, that's a surprise. He was getting some hate mail from Laney, but it's really not that way.
Yeah.
I love Laney. We've been talking a lot about Laney here in the last week or two about what they could possibly do this year. So we got our eyes out on Laney. So don't disappoint my man here, Cornell. He's taking you this week.
I'm taking Laney this week. Laney. Wildcats.
Go Wildcats.
Over the boulevard. Train tracks.
Well, that's cool. Any other games you want to talk about?
Burke County at Statesboro.
Wow, that's good stuff right there.
Burke County at Statesboro.
Burke County and Statesboro. That's a game that I mean, look, that is.
What would you call that? The battle of 16.
I would
the battle of 25.
Clash of Titans.
Clash of Titans.
I mean, to me, I moved to CSRA in 1999, and I've always heard about it. Statesboro. Burke County has been a steady, consistent player, won a state championship. So I would love to see that game myself. That's going to be a heck of a game.
So who you got to pick in that?
If I had to pick, I would take Statesboro. I'll say Statesboro 26-14.
26-14 Statesboro. I would take a step further, and I would say 35-6 Statesboro.
Wow, there you go. You heard it here.
We got Westside at Evans. Now, both of those teams, I didn't see the scrimmages, but from talk of the town, Westside they scrimmage well, decent. Evans kind of struggled against Thompson, who I took Jefferson County over Thompson. Who do you take Westside at Evans?
I actually think Evans is going to. I don't think the scrimmage the other night against Thompson was a very good performance for them, but I actually like them this year. But I also think Westside is going to be a little bit better than they maybe have been in the past.
Okay.
I think they had a pretty hard-fought scrimmage against Greenbrier, like we talked about earlier. Prediction-wise, I mean, I think Evans is going to have a little bit more than Westside, but I do think that both of those programs are on a pretty equal level right now as far as competitiveness. And I'd be surprised if one team beat the other team by more than a touchdown.
Okay, and I think so too. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's, I wouldn't say it's going to be a trench game. It's going to be whoever gets off. Either it's going to be Quentin Phillips or it's going to be Matt and Marshall. And I say Quentin Phillips. So I'm going with Westside over Evans. I'm going to go with Westside on that.
I mean, you know, I wouldn't expect anything more from you. Okay. You got to disagree with it.
Hey, that's how it goes sometimes.
Hey, that's the way it is.
All right. Next week, what we'll do is, again, we'll have our game of the week, split game, week 1. We'll have more matchups. We'll have more matchups from Carolina. Thank you for tuning in with Gridiron Live, sponsored by Gridiron Elite.
RD10franchises.com.
And Lineage of Champions. Now watch out. At the end of the year, we will have our bowl week, our All-Star Bowl week. We got more information coming soon, sponsored by Lineage of Champions. Watch out. Gridiron Elite, Elite Exposure for the CSRA.